Hey friends, and welcome to MomTalk Maryland. I'm your host, Claire Duarte, founder of the Columbia Mom, and this is your spot for real conversations, local love, and a whole lot of community. Whether you're folding laundry, running errands, or hiding in your car for some peace and quiet, let's dive in. So today we're talking about motherhood and friendship, something that I feel like is one of the things that's like not exactly talked about, but not in the taboo way that's not talked about. It's just because we're so busy in motherhood. It's just one of those things I feel like we don't have time for because our kids and our families obviously come first. We're in this new season of life. So it's like, how do you maintain either old friendships, friendships that you kind of had from potentially end of college or before all of that, your young adult span, your kind of single days or your couple days to, then once you start having kids, because then you start introducing lots of other new relationships, parents and friends from your kids' school or work, or your new neighborhood where you live, right? It becomes a whole big mix. And, I think a lot of times I feel like one of the easiest ways we start to meet mom friends is from kids that are around the same age, maybe, for any of those who've kind of been in the stay-at-home mom sphere, sometimes that feels easier to kind of, because you have a little bit more time to connect and do meetups here or there. But yeah, so I kind of figure this is a perfect kind of segue to talk about it. I think for me, I'll start just by sharing sort of my personal experience. I know that I'm super extroverted, but again, when we moved here in 2019, Brooke was 6 months old. I had a full-time job then that I was partially working from home, but working outside of the house. We had just moved to Columbia, so I didn't really know too many people here. Mm-hmm. So I definitely didn't really do a lot of friend meetups in Columbia at the time. And the girlfriends that I did have were from college and they were all spread out, or they were still in the city. And maybe they hadn't had babies yet or something like that. So kind of just that, interesting part of life. Yeah. And then obviously COVID didn't make any of that easier, naturally. And I feel like during that part of my life is where I started probably leaning into a lot of social relationships. There was women in mom that I started to meet online, via Instagram, kind of hinting at a little bit of my origin story there. But that is, how I kind of got into more of social media stuff. But they were women that I'd never met before, but they were also doing similar influencer things, and we had a really close pod for a while. And then, but now fast forwarding to kind of coming out of COVID, now I know that more of my city friends have moved to the county. And then obviously since starting this platform, me being very extroverted, I know that I'm maybe a little bit of a unicorn in that regard. I feel like I don't have trouble making friends, and I love to go out and do that. My kids are also not babies anymore, so I have a little bit more of that time to be able to go out and do things. But it is still challenging to fit in all the things that you want, and how do you balance and maintain those friendships,
Yeah. I always say I am very fortunate. You also are born and you had sisters and brothers, so you have a built-in friendship. I have a brother and sister, but I also have a bunch of cousins and girl cousins that were super close. So I kind of grew up with my friends, but also my family are my best friends too. But I always say it probably will come off bad, but in this part of my life, especially moving to Maryland, I didn't know a soul when I moved to the DMV area.
Oh, for sure.
And I just kind of was I'm going to wing it and do my thing. I am at a point in life where I'm going to work hard at a friendship that is meaningful and impactful and going to make me a better person.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people I come across and I'm cordial with and friendly with, and it's awesome. I love having people around me, and I'm also very extroverted.
Right.
But I'm very mindful of who I put my energy into. If someone at this stage is going to give me grief about anything, I'm not here for it.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to be made to feel guilty at this point.
No.
As I tell my husband when I'm talking about this world of friendships, I have my cousins. I still have my best friends from elementary school.
Which is rare. I think that's super rare.
Yeah, and we have a group text, and I actually woke up this morning like, oh, our text has been quiet for like 2 days, and that's like weird for us. Like we are constantly texting.
Yeah.
But I know we're all busy.
Yeah.
I have a best friend. You know, I have best friends from college. I was fortunate to go to college with my cousins, so again, we had that built-in best friendship, and then you know, my best friend from like after college. I have these people in my life that fulfill me so much that at this point, people coming in are like extra bonuses.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I always say like our team here in the Columbia Mom.
I know.
I mean, what are the chances that we would all connect so quickly and we all had COVID babies? And not only COVID babies are all boys, so we have that connection. You know, the people I've become close with here since, especially like living in Howard County, they give me a purpose. They stand by me. They help me out. So I think that's the balancing act in this season of life, of finding true friendships that add to your plate.
Yes. That
aren't going to take away from your plate or make you feel bad about something.
Right.
I was joking with a friend of mine, and I was like, yeah, I texted so-and-so asking a question, and I found out that person was like, who's this 518 number? I was like, oh, okay. Maybe we're cool, but I was like, okay, maybe we're not friends.
Yeah.
Like friends. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like, but it was like a funny moment and it didn't upset me at all. I was like, okay, I know where we stand. We're cool.
Yeah.
But like, that's how it is, if that makes sense. Like, and I know me being a transplant, especially in Howard County where it's like so tight knit and so many people are from this area.
Yeah.
I feel like an outsider a lot, that I couldn't wait for my kids to go to school.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was like, I can't wait for my kids to go to school. Not saying that these moms are going to become my best friends, and a lot of them have become close friends.
Yeah.
But just to have like a new community.
Yeah, and I think community is a strong word there, because like I look at my parents, right? And like I know, funny enough, they just got back from Germany. They were literally there for like 10 days, and it was with my mom's name's Sharon, and her other, like, one of her longest friends is this woman Sharon. And I'm really like, the last two Sharons left in the US, right? And I don't remember, no, they're not college friends, but I think maybe from their first job or something, like 40 plus years ago. And now that they're, you know, all of their kids are grown, you know, out of the house, I feel like I've heard her talk about, you know, hanging out with them more and more. And I was like, that's really awesome. Again, the power of friendship, right? But kind of bringing it back to us when talking about like community, you know, I do think we go through life, we go through different stages, we go through different seasons. I fully believe that some friendships, some relationships, some people you meet are sometimes, you know, made for a season of life. And sometimes that season is really long, sometimes it's really short. You know what I mean? Like, think about like different work friends or people that you've kind of interacted and, you know, in different roles. Like, you know, they're not like, because they're not in my life forever, but there are people, like, for instance, like when I got married, there were people at my wedding that I haven't seen since, because they were sort of tied to the job that I had at the time. But at the time, I was very close with them. You know what I mean? No harm, no foul. You know what I mean? Like that was just a different season of my life, and that's okay. You know what I mean? But like, you know, I remember thinking like my college friends were like all my sorority girls, and we were all, of course, so close knit, and we still like to get together, but we're all kind of spread out. We're all like, luckily, like, you know, in the DMV, but we're, I mean, I have a few that are closer. But like, I mean, I've like my best friend, from college is also my sorority, who literally I'm seeing tomorrow for her birthday, you know? Like, you know, she's the person I know that like we can tell each other like everything, talk about like nothing's off the table, you know what I mean? And our husbands are really good friends, our kids get along really well, like, you know, all of that. And, you know, and then I have all these series of friends from like the girls that I've kind of met whether they're a series of mom friends, whether it's kind of just from the Colombian mom connections. Like, I've made literally some of my best friends because of starting this platform. And again, I do feel like a little bit of a unicorn. I know you're really extroverted.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friend group is kind of like half and half. And so it's kind of opened my eye to the introvert side of life, even though we are not introverts. I've grown to understand it a little bit more because I realize that is a big challenge for a lot of women. But the reality is, I think the introverts, it's not that they struggle to make friends, it's just different because they're fueled and oriented differently. Like, they are perfectly okay to live inside their home, see their husband, see their kind of contacts, and keep their circle small, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for me, I cast a super wide net, and to be honest, something I struggled with in my 30s. Now I could say in my 30s, now that I'm approaching the upper end of that.
Being 40 is awesome.
Exactly. Well, I was gonna say, like, I am a friend slut. I'm a friend slut. It's the extrovert.
I don't think I've ever heard that term, and I'm
here for
it.
And so let me explain. I become friends very quickly. I will slide into your DMs very fast. I will text you very fast. I'll bring that boundary all the way down and overshare. And for better for worse, that is my vice in friendships. And I mean, I have learned some, lessons over, like I said, in my 30s, where that did come back to bite me, and, realizing, like, okay, I do need to be smarter about boundaries. Because that's just kind of like who I am. It's probably the ADD in me, like the oversharing and whatever. But yeah, I'm a little bit of friends. Like, I get excited. I fall in love quickly. It's all the Aries in me. I fall in love very quickly. I'm very passionate, very fiery. So those kind of elements, those same elements, I notice come into my friendships.
Yeah, and I get it. And I think, like, my one of my best friends, who we connected in my teaching lifetime. You brought up the season and the reason. I actually, for her wedding, for my maid of honor speech, I even said, people come in, we always say our quote is a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And like, I quoted it, and we always say, like, we kind of surpassed all of them. Like, there was a reason we came into each other's life. We were, in a season of teaching, brand new teachers, first time teachers. We went through a lot together, but she's still in New York, I'm here, and we talk every day. And it's one of those, like, we don't have to be like, hey, what's up? It's just like, I need a vet, or like a random, like, what do you think of this shoe? Like, our conversations are never like high by, because they're kind of always going, right? And I think that some friendships, like you said, your sorority sisters, like, I know for me, I played volleyball in college, which is basically a sorority.
Right.
And, like, I don't talk to those girls all the time, but, one girl texted me the other day, she's like, we're going camping down by your way, give me some ideas. Like, I think you go through periods of your life and you experience things together that just will bond you no matter what.
Oh, absolutely.
And, like, then you kind of go from there, and they come in and out, but, like, you probably could see the person tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, no time has passed, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's also that balancing act. You say you're a friend slut, you've learned your lessons. I know some of the lessons you've learned with, like, opening up too quickly.
Yeah.
But I think that's where I'm, like, as extroverted as I am, and I love having people around me, that's where I'm almost guarded, where, like, it takes me time to see if are we gonna be this? Because I am, like, before we started today, I even was like, this might be TMI. Like, we've been working together
I was just about to say, like, you don't seem like a very boundary heavy person from what I know of you. But
Since, like, September. But like, it kind of took me till May to finally be like, I have a TMI question for you. That
the reality is, you could have asked me this September 2nd.
Probably.
That's.
But I think that's where, like, I kind of have to gauge, because I can be a way too open book about things.
Oh,
and
me too.
And I love to talk about anything and everything.
Right.
But I have to figure out if that person I'm talking to is the same way.
Right.
Because I don't want to scare someone.
Right.
off.
Well, and My problem is I'm not necessarily worried if the person is the same way. It's where again, talking about the lessons learned of like, is that person going to be a keeper of whatever information I share, or are they gonna, it's not because what I shared is a secret, right? It's just, are they valuable and important enough in my life that I shared, I don't know, heavy, important, or just really relevant personal stuff that like, I don't need to tell just anybody that. And those are the lessons that I've had to learn in friendship in my 30s, and being a mom. And again, I realize not everybody is probably the friend slut that I am. I just, and I don't know, maybe it's also part of fuel of like, when I get to be out and like away from my kids, maybe I'm just like so effing excited, like another human, we get to talk and like have drinks and go out. So that element like fuels it a little bit more for me. But I mean, I love that saying, a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And I do think it's rare, to have those friendships from like when you were a kid and from that longevity, but I do think that's so beautiful and amazing. I mean, like, I am still obviously friends with a girl that was like my childhood best friend, but like she lives in California. We have completely different lives, you know what I mean? But like when we see each other, I mean, she's what I would call my oldest friend, but we don't text regularly whatsoever, but I still call her a friend. But it's different. You know what I mean? And again, just different things.
No, I'm very fortunate. Like, even you said about your wedding, I think like I can, off the top of my head, think of 2 people that were at my wedding that I don't really speak to anymore. And that's because they were husbands and now ex-husbands, or like an ex. But like, I think between who we invited, and it might have been because I got married at 29. So it was a little later in my life where I've been able to like, a little later.
I'm married at 28.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if it's like...
But yeah.
And also, by that point, I had moved to Maryland, so I had, like, a couple years of, like, I'm down here, all my life is in New York, who am I super close with, who do I talk to all the time? And that definitely, I think, played into who was invited. And I was very, we were very fortunate. But, I mean, it takes, like... just talking more like about those friends that aren't here, and even the friends that are here, like that mom guilt. Do you feel like even with your friends here in Maryland, in Howard County, do you experience that like mom guilt if you're not like able to make time for them? And how do you go about like carving out that time between work priorities, family priorities? Or is it just like, oh, your best friend you'll see at school pickup and a birthday party, and that kind of checks the box?
I think for me, I definitely don't feel any mom guilt because I don't think we should, like in that regard. I think like if my mom has said it too, it's like, your friendships in life shouldn't, be bringing you drama, pain, frustration. They should be adding to your life, So I definitely don't feel any like mom guilt towards my friendships because to me it's assumed. You know what I mean? Like if you're not reaching out, I don't have any pain, sadness, or frustration, and vice versa. Like I assume the best. I assume the best in people always, you know what I mean? So therefore I'm not going to feel guilty if I'm not able to, because I know like as soon as I reach out, I know it's going to be a big flurry of like, oh my God, I miss you, blah, 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 blah. But like one thing sort of in the same-ish line of like, it is kind of like a little bit of mix of, I wouldn't say the mom guilt, but like, how much effort I put in versus like friend slut, the thing that I mentioned. One thing I have personally tried to be a little bit mindful of myself is because I do get really excited when I meet and connect people, and I will do the thing where like, I will almost like love bomb you because I get really excited and and text, and I am the kind of person that I would text with somebody every single day because that's just like how I'm oriented. But if I have, because of some of these experiences in my 30s, I have tried to like be like, hey Claire, step back, like how much is the other person putting into it? Not that I'm like, again, not inserting mom guilt, but of like recognizing again that I fall hard. And that just we're trying to like going back to the very first things we said of like, if I notice that I'm consistently like putting in more effort, do I want to keep going at that level?
Yeah.
Because like I said, I just, not everybody, and not that I'm saying that people need to meet me at that level, because I realize I'm very extra in that regard.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm going to ride that wave, and I just need to kind of come down to a little bit more of a medium spot. And even if that medium spot still may be above most of my friendships, but that's okay. It's just like, you know, if I'm consistently too high or too low, okay, I don't need to be texting this person every day or blowing them up, whatever. Let me meet that energy that they're putting in, because I think that's only kind of fair. And I say that in like in complete love.
And I think
respect,
sometimes like what I experience is, you know, we're extroverted, but like I also want to help.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have a problem saying no to things.
Oh God, right.
And when I don't have that much of a problem being like, no, I can't go out because of life, but like no and helping someone out. And I think that that's where sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm putting a lot of effort into helping someone and maybe I'm not receiving that. But I've found also in this season of life and managing like these friendships with, you know, school relationships and everything, like I've definitely noticed it's all like I might be putting in this much for month 2, and then they put in this much for month 3, and there's a balancing act, and that I think also helps me like sustain me. Like, okay, I might be doing a lot right now, but I know that person's going to have my back next week when I need that extra help. And I think that's part of this like mom world and navigating friendships right now too, is that we all like need those parents to help us out, do pick up, you know,
absolutely.
School uniforms, anything. Like the random text I send to people, I'm like, who has a size 8 skirt I can borrow for a week because there's no school left.
Right.
You know, so I think there is that aspect too. And I mean, it's hard. I think for me, like I said in the beginning, I couldn't wait for Emily, my oldest, to start school, because then I knew I would like have a built-in community. Not saying I need to be best friends with all of Emily's friends' parents, but it's still this nice community to have, that they're going to have our families back and vice versa. So do you have, you know, with that said, do you have any tips? I know we got to wrap up soon, but do you have any tips for like, especially new moms navigating this like world of, I have a child and a husband or a wife or a significant other person in my life that I need to balance out with these friendships or finding friends?
I think my biggest tip is just be open. It's just be open to new experiences, open to new people. You know, because we all need community, we all need friendships, and I think, you know, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you know, just put yourself out there. You know, challenge yourself. I'm not saying that you need to bring more people into your circle. Like, there's nothing wrong with the circle you have. It doesn't need to be added to, but there is an important element of like, don't neglect the people that you love and care for, even if that means you only see them every few months. Like, that's okay, but just be open to those new experiences and open to valuing yourself enough that you are important enough as a mom that you need that time with your friendships outside of your kids, your husband, and your family. You know?
And I think too, for like the, you know, something that weighs on my head sometimes, I'm like, oh, I haven't talked to this person in a while, like I should reach out. Like, I think that's where my mom guilt comes from. But I know like my advice is just send that person the text, or send them, you know, respond to their Instagram story, anything like that. Because I know like when I hear from friends that I haven't heard from in a while, and no fault to anybody, it's just life, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy they reached out. Like, that made my day. And I think it's just like ripping that Band-Aid off and going with it, right? And then just to close out, let's lighten it up a little bit. Okay, and I know I didn't prep you for this, so it's fine. All right, so what is the most ridiculous text you've sent a friend recently?
Oh goodness. I've sent this week's been a weird week. I mean, just saying like, oh God, I can't have dairy for a whole week. So that has been, it's obviously not ridiculous. Let me put it this way. I have a friend that, and I think we have many of them, where I have literally not seen her in months. And I'm talking like over 6 months. We haven't talked on the phone, but I like love her to death. And we send each other minimum of 1 to 5 memes a day.
Love it.
And that is the sustenance of our relationship. And it is like, it's the kind of thing that like you don't want to look under the hood because it is some insane shit in there.
I know. I have my friend who I said the reason a season a lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, like there's no high buys in our conversations because it's just constantly going. And I'm sure like if I asked her like what is the amount of ridiculousness of texts that we send each other, I mean, it's scary sometimes. Or just the topics we dive into and say. Although I think I did do a screenshot. This might have been more ridiculous. I did do a screenshot of vibrators that are on sale to one of my friends that I know we were just talking about. I was like, screenshot this. I'm like, don't let your kids see this picture.
That's right. That's right. Market research. The people need to know.
I'm like, who's buying at a discount and telling us how it works?
Right. Got to disseminate the information. That's why we're in marketing, folks. We can't gatekeep.
Yeah. All right. And then let's see. Who would you call if figuratively you needed to bury a body?
Oh, I know. I would definitely call my friend Monica.
Okay.
Definitely
I mean, based on what I know of Monica, I can totally see that. I might have to also call her.
Yeah.
Because I don't even really know her.
Oh, yeah, I would call Monica. Not because she's, like, the most savage person, but just, I would call Monica.
Yeah, I would.
I don't know, I don't even know how to fully put it into words. Yeah.
I would call my cousins, who are, like, my best friends. So Jessie, Laura, and Liz, and my sister, Amy, probably, because, family first. They're not going to rat you out. And secondly, if I called them, and I was like, is happening, pitchforks. Right. They would be ready to roll and get going and ask 0 questions.
That's exactly what I know of my friend. Like, no questions asked. She would roll up, like, no guilt, like, everything. It's so true.
And to wrap it up in a tiny little bow, what is your best, like, mom friend date idea or one that you've done recently? I know you've been doing a lot of fun things.
I know. We do a lot of fun things. Actually, I'm going on one tomorrow with my girlfriend for her birthday. She actually wants to get a piercing. I'm not. Like cartilage or something like that. And we'll do like coffee and, locally, like one of my favorite dates that I did with a girlfriend that I have done a couple times is like getting drinks at Dok Khao and getting food there, because their cocktails are so freaking good. It's like so Instagram kind of like worthy and cute, and it's fun like any time of year. It's great during the winter. It's obviously great during the summer because you can hang out like in the park. I've also done that before going to a concert. Like I just love that as a girlfriend spot for sure. And then alternatively, last year we did like a girls outing on this like tiki boat in downtown Annapolis. So we went to Chop Tank for a happy hour before, and then we all went out on the tiki boat and had like music and drinks, and like that was super fun. Like, if the weather was good tomorrow, and Hannah and I had unlimited. Tomorrow's supposed to be rainy, so that wouldn't be fun for Annapolis. But we will make do.
No, that sounds awesome. Yeah, just a couple of weeks ago we did like a girls' night at my friend's new place, and then we walked over to Stained Glass Pub, our local watering hole. Yep. And I felt like I was in college again because it had dropped like significant amount of degrees between like the start of it to like us going over there at 10 o'clock. So I felt like in college I was like shivering walking over. But like
I know this feeling.
But like it was just, myself and my 2 girlfriends, and like we just got to like hang out, have a drink. Like it wasn't even anything special, but we just we're like, we haven't sat down the 3 of us. And I think that's what it is. It's like, no matter what you're doing, it's who you're around, who you trust, who you can have an open conversation with, and like not be holding back. And I think that's my big thing is if I have to hold back with someone, like fully hold back,
Yeah.
I'm like, we're gonna be good friends, but that deep dive.
Right, it's all about the deep dive. All right, folks. Well, on that note, well, this is the perfect note because we'll just keep swimming our way through summer.
Yeah.
So, well, cheers to friendship. Cheers to reasons, seasons, and lifetime. No matter where you are in your life, in your own season.
Yep.
But here's to valuing motherhood and friendships.
Yeah. Yes.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mom Talk Maryland. If you loved it, leave a review, share it with a friend, or tag me at the Columbia Mom on Instagram. I'd love to hear what you think. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep supporting local, and keep being the incredible mom, woman, human that you are.